Hello and welcome to episode 117 of Writing in the Weeds. Welcome back. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome here. And let us know that you're here. Give us a comment, give us a review. We'd love to hear from you. I am Natasha Lucky. I am a business builder and mountain bike coach, traveler, gypsy. Uh, and honestly, a lover of all things. How can we improve our lives, but not in a self-improvement kind of a way, but more in a awareness kind of a way? And that's where I connect super solidly with my beautiful co-host, Ginny, who I'll let introduce herself.
Yeah, I am Jenny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. So if you are struggling with your pet relationships, whether that's emotional issues or behavioral challenges, that would be a great reason to have a session together.
Awesome. So today we are going to dive into the idea of opening up our heart and feelings and getting uncomfortable and why we don't like to get uncomfortable, I think is probably going to be like the core of this episode. Where we started this conversation was in our last episode, we were talking about how a lot of people don't know how to open their heart. Our heart opens when something good happens, and it closes when something shitty happens. And so then we start to view life through those lenses. You meet somebody and they trigger a bunch of things for you, and it just is the right time at the right moment, and they're wearing the right clothes, and your heart just opens up, and you're like, that's my person. At the same time, you could meet the person at a different moment in time, and they could actually do the exact opposite to you, right? You could be standing in a coffee line and some jerk says something to you, and in fact you have the exact opposite, and it triggers all of your negative scars and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, this person's horrible. And you could have the exact opposite reaction, because however they hit against those triggers, everything closes back down again. And when we rely on the outside world to open our heart and also close our heart, we end up being buffeted by life. And we basically go through life just reacting to the triggers that happen. And I think in the last episode, I gave the example of an old TV screen. You may or may not know that this used to happen. I know I never had one of these TVs, but I'm not that old, I promise. But if you pause the video on the TV screen and you left it on there, it would actually imprint that image on the TV, which that's what this is like. Something good happens, that image gets imprinted, and now everything we look at, we're seeing through that lens. And the same thing with something bad happening. So every decision we make is a decision made to either keep that good feeling or avoid the bad feeling. And I really notice this. Some people move locations because they're like, it's going to be better because where I am sucks. I'm going to move somewhere else. But when you hit the road and you're in your camper and you're in the unknown, it becomes really, really obvious how this all kind of works.
Yeah. And I think the really key piece there to distill it down is what ends up happening is we have an experience. We'll call it a good experience. And when that happens, our brains tell us that that situation or scenario gives us a good feeling. And while that is not 100% wrong, we get tripped up and we get stuck in the weeds when we think that we now need that situation, person, thing, item, animal, fill in the blank in order to feel good. I was driving the other day and had one of those crazy aha moments. I have struggled with anxiety and depression over the course of my life. Never had any clinical diagnosis, but it took me a long time to recognize, probably because I didn't have a clinical diagnosis, that that was what I was experiencing. And it dawned on me the other day that there are times where I couldn't have explained why I didn't feel good, but I didn't feel good. We'll call it depression, anxiety, whatever. I was just not feeling well. There was no logical explanation. I had food on my table. All of my basic needs were taken care of. There wasn't anything catastrophic in my life, but I didn't feel good. And it really clicked that if we can feel not good with no discernible reason, no logical, identifiable reason, then that also means that we can feel good with no identifiable, logical, discernible reason. And while the not feeling good can be a choice to a certain extent, internal chemicals and things like that play a big role in all of that, we still have far more control and choice over that than I think our culture leads us to believe, and society leads us to believe, than we're taught that we have. And that to me was like this huge light bulb. Like, dang, I can make that choice if I am not feeling good to shift to feeling better on some level. There's no reason I can't.
Yeah.
And the challenge, the problem comes when we believe that we need blank in order to get there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where we get stuck in the weeds, when we think, I need my partner, I need food, I need alcohol, I need my phone, I need to go somewhere, I need to experience something in order to feel good.
And that's not to say that if you take a vacation that you can actually kickstart. The thing we need to understand is that it's not the vacation that's going to solve the problem. It's by going into a different situation, we can stimulate the feelings that we need in order to remind ourselves that that's what we're looking for. I think that's what's really neat about doing practices, that you practice opening your heart up and you learn how to actually open your heart, as you say, without there being any reason for it to be open. I was listening to episode 115, and the whole concept of going into a mindset reset and actually being like, okay, right now I'm not feeling great about where I'm at. I've got some stuff that just happened that didn't feel good. Can I shift myself and actually forcibly go, well, hold on. The last 24 hours has felt really icky. But can I find one moment or one thing that happened that feels good? And it's been really hard. The last 3 months have been a challenge. But can I pull something out that actually felt good? And then can I go, okay, and I want to bring that feeling and I want to move it forward into the future. So what can I forward vision that's going to happen for me in the next 3 months? And instantly that shifts your brain into a pattern of being able to see the good and see the things that are happening that are good for you, and shifting that heart into an open space. My husband and I have been doing an exercise at the end of the day where it's like, what felt good for you today? What was a moment that felt good? And then it's like, what made you laugh today? And what's kind of cool is that the amount of times I'm like, there was that moment. We laughed about something. What was it? And I tried to put it in my brain so that I could use it tonight when we got to this conversation. And he ended that yesterday. He's like, we laughed about something. And I was like, cool, I can use this later. And then he couldn't remember what it was. But it's supposed to spark conversation and get us having fun conversations versus just scrolling on our phone or just not having conversations. But what it's actually doing is throughout the day, when something like cool happens or something funny happens or something that feels good, it's like bookmarking it. Like, oh, This is good. I can use this in our conversation later on today. And that's actually been a really neat side effect of that. And it's not using the thing or using the experience or holding on to the experience so much as like noticing. Oh, oh my God, this is rad. This is really funny. I'll remember this for later on today, but not in
Yeah.
a like, I got to hold on to this experience so that when I need a good experience, I know that if I'm sitting next to the pool and I'm drinking a margarita, that everything feels really good. Because when you do that, you then go back to the pool and you order the margarita and the margarita is warm and you're not allowed to use the pool, or there's someone in the pool and you don't want to get in the pool, and that experience that was really good is now not as good because you're trying to replicate that thing that happened in order to get the feeling.
Yeah.
But when you can just be like, oh, that was cool, carry on.
Yeah.
That sucked, carry on.
Yeah. It's about being able to have more connection with the feeling than the actual experience. And that
Yeah.
way you're not tying a feeling to a specific experience. And I feel like I was not taught to do this as a kid. These kinds of conversations didn't exist when I was young and learning all of this stuff. And it's taken so many years to figure out that, like, oh, hey, wait, those feelings, the feeling that I want, I can just generate that. And if I need to use an external stimulus now and then, there's not a problem with using that as a catalyst. But when you attach it so that this is the only way I can feel
Mm-hmm.
good or better, then that's when it becomes a problem. That's when you start bumping up against addictions at that point.
Yeah.
And being able to consciously identify that and really be aware of that, because what happens next is if you think that particularly another person or an animal or a being or a specific situation is what you need in order to feel good, then if that situation starts to shift or change, now you don't feel good and you cannot bear witness to someone or hold space for someone if your body is busy going, I don't feel good, I need to change this situation, which means now you're changing someone else. Now you're influencing another being because you don't feel good. And that's not fair. That's not respectful. But that's how so many people live their lives. I can look back at scenarios in my childhood and see where the adult was giving me direction or information because they felt uncomfortable,
Yeah.
not because it was what was actually best for me. And I can see that around times when I was upset or angry at something and was told, don't cry, don't worry about it, stop doing whatever you're doing, it's not that big of a deal. All these different things that I was told as a kid that invalidated my experience was simply because the person that I was dealing with was uncomfortable and
Yeah.
was unable to be with that discomfort and recognize that it's not their own and that they don't need to change that for me. And
Well,
so we fall into that trap really easily when we're not aware that, you know what, we can just shift our state. So, what if we're feeling bad? We can make different choices.
well, and I think it's really interesting when we were traveling and we'd turn up in these beautiful places, and part of me's like, oh, I really need a glass of wine and some chips and some guacamole to really enjoy this situation. And I'm like, I don't like, where are my tortilla chips? Like, so noticing the things that I've put in place. I need these things in order for this to be complete. Because I don't have these things, this isn't complete, and I feel like out of sorts. Or getting to a beautiful location and it's been a day because you've been on the road for 8 hours and you're exhausted and you're bickering because both of you are tired. And it's like, but we shouldn't be bickering. We're having the trip of a lifetime. Like, people would give their left arm to be experiencing what we're experiencing right now. And we're all stressed out because of this, that, and the other thing. And feeling like, well, that's wrong. And it shouldn't be like that. But then just realizing that it's like, well, we're uncomfortable. And I think that's the other part of this conversation is that when you're trying to control the situation, like this situation makes me feel good and this one makes me feel bad. So I'm not going to do anything that makes me feel bad. When I'm on the road in my camper, I feel uncomfortable and I don't like it. So I'm going to get a house and I'm going to get a stable job and I'm going to finance my car and then I'm going to wrap myself in this experience that feels comfortable because when I'm in a house and I have a stable job, I feel good. So that's what I'll do. And I'm never going to drive in my camper ever again because that makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's when we're like, okay, heart closed, heart open. What if, like, as you like to say, like, what if both can be true at the same time? What if we can be having an incredible experience and be stressed and uncomfortable at the same time?
Well, this goes way back to, I don't know, a single digit episode, The Laundry in Paradise, right? Just
Totally.
because you're in an incredibly beautiful, amazing environment doesn't mean that there's not laundry to deal with. It's no different than any other environment that you've already been in. It's just a place. And we are the ones that end up assigning so much meaning to experiences or places or, oh, I'm at the beach. I should be feeling XYZ. And as soon as that S word comes up, it just wrecks everything because whether you're feeling good or you're feeling bad, now you are wrong for whatever you're feeling. Some people feel uncomfortable laughing at funerals, like, oh, well, we should be grieving. Yeah, but who decides that? Who
Right.
determines exactly what that experience should or shouldn't look like at that point? We get so tripped up assigning a
Yeah.
specific meaning to a specific place or time or a specific experience that if we could just separate the experiences and the feelings a little bit and not worry about one or the other or which one you're in the middle of in the moment. Because here's the thing, whether you make a choice about it or not, it's going to change.
Yep.
That's the only constant in the universe, regardless. So, whether you're happy at the beach right now or whether you're mad in a gorgeous lake view or whatever, it doesn't matter because it'll change. It's like the weather. You just have to give it some time and something will shift. In the meantime, are there things you can reach for? Absolutely. You should be reaching for your tools, you should be reaching for your practices. It's no different than how you choose to feed yourself. If you're feeding yourself junk all the time, then you can expect you're not going to feel great. And
Mm-hmm.
you also can't be upset when you do. So that's on you as personal responsibility to take care of yourself so you're not unnecessarily putting yourself in situations like that. There's also a difference between doing that and deciding that you're going to have a treat or something now and then. I think you mentioned a number of episodes ago about occasionally having a cookie. It's not the end of the world. But if you
No.
fall off the wagon and decide to eat 500 cookies, you're gonna feel bad and it's not going to be a good thing, and it will be even harder at that point to shift your state because now you do have external things influencing how your body feels and how your body is working. And so it all fits together. It's not one thing or another. There's no simple solution because frankly, after a long day of traveling, you're tired, you're probably hangry, you've been doing a lot. It's a lot of mental work and not a lot of movement, and the body needs
Yep.
movement. The
Yep.
days that I spend at my computer the next day, I can be a little cranky because I haven't moved my body enough. So, what are those pieces of the puzzle that are non negotiable for supporting your well being, regardless of how you feel? And then from there, allowing those feelings to come and flow, like the rain, like the wind, like the tide in and out. Things are going to shift and change. And regardless of the experience, can you observe the emotion and go, interesting, I'm feeling like this right now? Or, oh, that's interesting, I'm feeling this way. And not assign it a meaning attached to an experience.
Totally. Well, and there's so many things in there. First of all, I'd like to say that paradise always has laundry, but right now it has a lot of bugs, and it's insane.
That is also true. Paradise often has a lot of bugs in it. Not
And
really
so
a
we are
fan of that part of paradise.
no, right? And so we arrive in paradise, and the first step is, can we get onto our property because it's a jungle? And we were able to, but it's a jungle. And second step is there's bugs everywhere. And thirdly, it's hot. And we're like, okay. And as you say, right, it's observing that this could be a, oh my God, what are we thinking? This sucks. Why did we even leave? We should have stayed where we were. We could attach to the negatives.
Yeah.
And then forever, when we think of coming to Mexico, all we think of is bugs and the fact we've got to work on our property and the fact that there's been a hurricane and so there's water damage and it's hard work and this and that and my feet are just dirty the whole time, and we could hold on to that. Or we could observe that and be like, right, okay,
Those are
how do
all
we manage
fair observations at that point.
right? Like,
But they
totally,
don't
like the
mean
fact
anything.
they don't mean anything. My back is covered in bug bites. It's insane. Every time I say to people, I'm like, I got bug bites. I got nailed. And then I show them and they're like, whoa, like you really did. And I'm like, I don't actually know what it looks like back there, but that's the same response I get from everybody. So I'm assuming it looks pretty bad. But that's okay. It's just, it's, as you say, right? It's an observation and it's allowing it to just be. Otherwise, you're eating shitty food and wondering why you feel like shit.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense. Because you know why you're feeling like shit. You're eating shitty food. Stop eating the shitty food. Stop holding on to the experiences. Stop allowing the experience to dictate how you feel. I am still absolutely ecstatic to be here. I am still so excited. A few not so great things happened on our way down. That didn't mean we didn't have an incredible experience. Just the environment happened. And in Michael J. Singer's Art of Surrender book, he really talks about how we think we're so important. The moment that we're in, honestly, would be happening with or without us. If you're looking forward, you're seeing a moment and you're not seeing the one that's to the right and you're not seeing to the left. They're still happening. We're not that important. Yet we take it all so seriously and we allow it to then affect every decision that we have moving forward. I'm not going to do this because last time I did that, this happened. I'm never going surfing again because I went surfing the other day and I got my ass handed to me. But the time before that, I went surfing and it was the most incredible experience of my life. So I want to surf every day. Open heart, shut heart, open heart, shut heart. Whereas it could just be sometimes surfing's amazing. And sometimes surfing makes you just feel like garbage. And that's what it is. Sometimes relationships are incredible. And sometimes relationships are literally like, why do we put ourselves through this pain and suffering?
Yeah. I think for me, the other piece about that is that those things that are challenging, the things in my life that are the most challenging, are the ones that end up giving me the most gratification when it goes well. And
But
that is the piece that I keep holding on to.
But that's the same thing, right? Like you're holding on to that. So like maybe it's like knowing that you could be in that moment of it feeling amazing with or without that experience.
Yeah.
I think it's about learning to really appreciate, be grateful, and soak it in, but then let it pass as well. Because
Yeah.
whether it offends us in a good way or it offends us in a bad way, if we hold on to it, then we are always going to be trying to make it that way again.
Yeah. Which
Does that
is
make
going to lead to disappointment because it'll never be exactly that way again. And
yeah.
that's why you have to allow it to just evolve. And you see it when you live somewhere where there is water, is the water never looks the same way twice.
No.
It's true of pretty much every environment, but it's very easily noticeable on a lake or the ocean or with streams and rivers that the water never looks the same way twice. The light's different, the air's different, the colors are different, the level is different, the feel is different. It's always changing. And the more we can allow that, and again, not connect the good or bad feeling to a specific experience and make it mean that we have to have the experience in order to have the feeling, then that is how
That's
we begin to allow, and that's how we begin to flow with the current of things instead of fighting them all the time, because we're not always wishing it was another way. And we can
well, and
allow the feeling to be the feeling and the
yeah.
experience to just flow through.
And I think that's the absolute key of this conversation is that it's noticing the feeling. And if you are practicing opening your heart, it's noticing, like, oh, I feel joy. I like how joy feels. And then going into a meditation and feeling that joy, as you said at the beginning, without there being any experience. You know what joy feels like. You know what happiness feels like. You know what pain feels like. You know what sadness feels like. We don't have to have an experience in order to feel that way. And even deeper than that, we can actually sit in a feeling of complete love and send that to somebody, and they can be millions of miles away from you, and they can suddenly be bathed in this amazing experience and feeling. And likewise, you can have a horrid feeling and send hate across the miles, and that person will suddenly not feel good. And I've done experiments with this in workshops, and it's absolutely incredible that we truly can send that emotion, good or bad, to people. And so if we can stimulate that emotion within ourselves just by opening up our heart or closing our heart, we don't need the experience. We notice that this experience allowed our heart to open, allowed us to feel that way. And
Yeah.
so we notice that it feels good. We go, oh, this is what an open heart feels like. As you said, right? You can be at a funeral and suddenly your heart opens with joy and love, and you can be overcome with these beautiful emotions. And instead of being like, oh, wow, you know, I'm in this beautiful, loving emotion, you feel bad because it's not appropriate. Yeah, who says? Maybe the
Yeah.
person that passed is suddenly in that moment sending you so much love because you're there. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I think what this also boils down to is the practice. It is the practice of opening your heart. And if you need external experiences now and then to help remind you of what that feeling is and what that choice feels like to feel those things, then that's not a problem. But then the practice is to come back and sit down and willingly, willfully make the decision to feel some way. And then can you take that feeling and take it out into the real world? And when you're experiencing something that's challenging, like traffic or a long wait in a
Right?
line or an unexpected change that is going to delay you from your to-do list for the day, can you call on that feeling and choose to feel a different way again? That
Yeah.
becomes the exploration. And you can make a game out of it at that point. Can you get curious enough to explore whether or not you can shift states in any other location or place? And what does that look like? And what does it feel like? Can I shift my state in the line at the DMV to get my license renewed? Or shift your state when there's someone near you who is having a bad day or who is acting out in some way or who is clearly stressed. Can you shift your state?
Yeah.
And to
And
me,
not,
that's it. How
yeah.
much can you play with that?
And noticing when I do something and Ian reacts negatively to it, I'm practicing with noticing, oh, something I did just triggered something in him. Wasn't me. It was that what I did triggered something in him. So sure, like uh, I will try and not do that again, but I'm also not going to get all rung up about it and be like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. Oh, because I did this. And oh, I always do this. And that conversation and that argument that happens from that space, because then you trigger me and I trigger you and we go backwards and forwards. And really, it's just a matter of noticing, oh, okay, we just bumped up against each other. And
Yeah.
his expectation of me did not match my actions in that moment. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
But that
let's move
goes
on.
back to Don Miguel Ruiz and the four agreements, right? Take nothing personally.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, if he had some kind of an expectation about what your behavior should be, there's the magical S word again, then that's on him and is not your
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. And you don't need to get sucked into whatever it is that he is responding to. Those are all choices, and we forget that we have a choice in that moment. You're dealing with a disgruntled employee at some location, or you're dealing with delays in something. You can choose how you want to respond to that. And it's bloody hard. I am not even going to lie. There are days that I struggle with this. I struggle bad with this. I still get upset in traffic sometimes. I still get anxious and frustrated when things are not moving the way I think they should be. And it's not easy to take a step back and just go, does this really matter? Is this really how I want to feel right now? Or can I choose something different? Do I need to do a little bit of something to help myself feel different? Maybe I do need to put on some fun music in the car, or maybe
Right.
I do need to listen to a nice uplifting podcast or something. We can use external tools in order to help shift our state. The key is you just don't want to get to the point where you have to have the external tool in order to shift your state.
And have the
So there's a
expectation that
lot.
it's
Yeah.
going to, like, when you're like, you put on the podcast and the topic sucks and you're like, oh, well, that sucks because this is how I feel good and I don't like this right now, and so now I feel worse and it's your fault because your topic was shitty today and I'm never going to listen to that podcast again. I don't know, like, that's, we're now making decisions through expectations, and it's very easy for people to disappoint you
Yeah.
when, and it makes it hard for people to surprise and astonish you as well. If you know you've closed your heart, but you might listen to the podcast next week and it was the best topic ever. Again, back to surfing, especially here.
Yeah.
I, I actually, just to kind of, before we wrap this up, it was really funny because we went out surfing the other day and wasn't the best conditions and a few bits and pieces happened. Dog tried to drown himself. He tried to follow us out. He got stuck in the rip. And so anyway, it kind of all just went backwards. And my husband's like, you know what, I'm just going in. This isn't going to work today. And I was like, oh, I just can't leave it like that. And so I start paddling out. And the voice in my head starts being like, you don't know what you're doing. Actually, you don't know what you're doing any situation in life. You are like failing at everything. And it was not just the surfing. The mean girl in my head started coming down on me with everything. She was throwing it all at me. And I was like, hey, hold up. Like, no, no. Yes, I feel a little bit like a fish out of water. Yes, this is not where I should probably be on my first day of surfing for the year. This is not the right conditions. Yes, I feel lost. Yes, I'm not really sure where I am. Yes, the bank has completely changed because the sand's all been moved and the hurricane moved everything. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I suck. That just means that I'm not in the right place right now to actually have a good experience surfing. But that's
It
not
just
on me.
means it's hard.
Leave me
It just
alone.
means it's hard. That's it. It doesn't mean anything else. It can be hard and not mean anything.
And not mean
And
anything.
somehow we tend to feel that if something is hard, we make it mean something about ourselves. Clearly,
Right?
your mean girl thought so. And about everything else. And it doesn't. It can be hard. It can just simply be hard
Be
and
hard.
nothing else.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was not aligning with what I needed in that moment. And it was crazy because as soon as I was like, hey, zip it. I stepped back into the experience and just had the experience. And I got held under and I was like, I need to go in. And it was actually hilarious. The whole thing was, at the end of the day, it was just funny. But it might not have been had I wanted to hold on to any of that. Like, it might not have been. And I honestly have started to be like, I think I have a bit of schizophrenia going on because the amount of time I'm talking to people and I'm like, yeah, we were having a conversation the other day about this. And what we decided, I mean, we being the left side of my brain and the right side of my brain, were talking. And it's like I've got this awareness about the different sides of what's going on inside my head. And now instead of there just being one voice that's constantly talking to me and I'm listening to it, I'm actually quite aware. I'm like, really, you think that, do you? I don't really know if you're right. Like, who are you anyway?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to listen to you? Because I don't like what you're saying right now. I'm not going to agree with you. Like, no, not keen.
Yeah. And that comes from having a practice that allows you the time and space to begin to hear those voices and recognize they aren't you. They are voices talking in your head. They've come from cultural conditioning, they've come from life experiences, they've come from all sorts of influences. And when you can characterize them that way and allow them to be who they are, they can talk all they want, but that doesn't mean they get to run the show. The mistake we make is when they run the show. You very easily could have packed it in and been like, yeah, I'm a terrible person. I suck. I'm never going out again. What good would that have done? It would
In
have
fact,
done
I'm
no
never
good
doing
at all.
anything again. I'm just going to go home and
Anything,
curl up
yeah.
into
Just
bed. I'm just like, I'm done. I quit.
lay on my bed and never leave. Like, that's not realistic. And
No.
so the more we can characterize those voices in our heads, the character that sort of pops to mind is the Princess Bride, the witch that yells boo in The Princess Bride, is my inner mean person. Although in that scene, she actually wasn't really mean, but that's who it is this really nasty, ugly old lady that just rips me apart. But that's not who I am. And if I listen to her, I am paralyzed. It's very easily to get paralyzed when I listen to that voice. And so I have to go, your conversation is just really not helpful today. You can go take a hike. You can go chill out somewhere else. I'm not interested in that.
And what's funny is that, as you said, in that scene, she's actually not being mean. It just, like, it.
I know.
Right? And that's the thing is it's like, that's the mean girl in our head is actually not trying to be mean. It's trying to be helpful. And in that scene, the exact same thing, right? It feels mean. It feels nasty when actually that character is being helpful. And so often I think that that is 100% the case. So before we go down a completely different rabbit hole and often a different tangent.
New rabbit hole.
Because now we're talking about the voice in our head. I'm just going to wrap this up and remind you what we were talking about. I think so. Because it's all very much related. And that's where the whole thing started with the surrender for Michael J. Singer, was really understanding that there was this voice that was running the show and being like, hey, hold on a minute, well, who are you anyway? Right? And then that led him to understanding the whole idea of the topic of our conversation, where we get caught up when we don't know how to open our heart on our own. And back to what you said at the
Yeah.
beginning, that if there is absolutely no reason for feeling shitty, then we can also feel good for absolutely no reason at all. And if you do not
Yeah.
know how to open your heart without having an experience, that is your action step to take away from this podcast, is to sit down, close your eyes, focus on your breath, and just see if you can bring your attention to your heart space and open up and just think about something that you truly love and allow that feeling to open. I always think of my puppy dog, and it's the swelling and the love that comes out, and just practice opening up that heart space and doing it without there being an experience that brings you to that space, and starting to practice that on a daily basis so that you know that when you're in an experience that isn't fun, you can actually step back into, just as you feel the heart closing down, remind yourself, oh, oh, my heart's being closed. Oh, no, 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 no. And opening it back up again and letting things just go by. I'm somebody who gets very attached to TV shows and the characters and the people in the show. And that is exactly what we're doing in our lives, right? We should be watching a TV show and it's just happening. It's got nothing to do. It's a bunch of fiction. It's not real. And neither is any of the stuff that's happening in our day-to-day lives. It's not real. The only real is what we attach to it. That's what's real. And we hold on to it. That's what's real, because we're making it real. You can choose.
Yeah.
It can
I
just
love it.
be a thing.
That's it. You
that
can
happened.
choose.
Choose.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you get to
Awesome.
go and have amazing experiences, because you're not terrified that things are going to bump up against you and offend you the whole time. I think that's where the whole Karen thing came from. It's a fictional person who is just running their lives based on being offended by everything that happens. And we don't want to be like that. That's a very closed heart.
Yeah. It's not a fun place to be either. It does not feel good to be in that kind of energy all the time, every day. So you can make the choice to feel different. You can make the choice to start your day in another way. And that's why the daily practice, again, going back to, that's why it's so critical, because it helps you start your set point from the beginning of the day in a better place so that you can reach for that when you need it in the middle of the day. But if you start your morning dreading going to work or dreading the day's tasks ahead, that's not setting you up for success. It's that choice. It's how do you want to choose to set yourself up so that you have access to the best possible list of options for the day. So start sooner rather than later and just keep going.
And notice sometimes the daily practice I had before we went surfing, I did my yoga, and it was Chinese torture with the bugs. And the whole day really actually spiraled from that moment on. And then there was the surfing. And then there was a point where I had to just be like, what do I want here? And I sat down to do work, and I was like, I just want to go and have a nap. I just want to restart. And instead, I just stuck with what I was doing. And I just allowed myself to be with what was. And slowly it reset. And slowly I started to shift back into a positive space. And, you know, it's taken me 3 days to go back to my yoga, because I don't want to have that experience again. And I don't want to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do my yoga without the bugs. So it's interesting, and it's just noticing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will meditate and
I love it.
it'll suck. It won't be easy. It doesn't mean you don't step back in and do it again. I am Natasha Lucky. I am a business builder. If you have a course you're wanting to get out into the world, and right now it's the time to do it because like digital courses are a thing right now. So if you've got something that you want to put out there and you just don't know how to get started, I'm your girl. I can help you. There's retreats in Mexico coming back up. I am in the process of getting those organized. So if you're interested in coming, I promise I'll get rid of the bugs before you get here. Coming and doing some surfing. I will not get rid of the surfing challenge. Some yoga. I also cannot eliminate the yoga challenge. And we'll do some biking, which, you know, that is always easy, right? You can find me on Betty Go Hard on Instagram. You can find me Natasha Lucky on Facebook. And you can find me over on Substack sometimes. I promise I'll be back there soon as Natasha Lucky. So thanks for listening.
Awesome. Yeah, I am Jenny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you would like to know about life from your pet's perspective or get a handle on challenges or behavior, emotional, or anything like that that are going on in your life together, that is a great reason to have a session together. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handle. We really appreciate you hanging on through this rather long ride through the weeds again today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.